Tonight, one moment you may have missed if you weren't watching the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation hearing closely. The father of a Parkland shooting victim says Kavanaugh refused to shake his hand. Video shows Fred Guttenberg approaching Kavanaugh during a break in the action, and you can see him reaching out his hand. The Supreme Court nominee appears to see him and look at him before walking away. What was going on in that moment, though, seems to be now up for debate. Guttenberg's daughter, Jamie, was one of 17 people killed in the Stoneman Douglas High School shooting in Parkland, Florida, earlier this year. Out front now, Fred Guttenberg is joining me. Thank you so much for coming in.
How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So you're at the hearing as a guest of Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein. She even mentioned you, and she was talking about some folks. What were you hoping to do by approaching Kavanaugh?
So I was there all day, as you said, the request of Senator Feinstein. And when I was listening to Judge Kavanaugh this morning at his introduction, he looked over at his family, and he specifically talked about his kids, and he's got a beautiful family. I went up to him as a dad, to be quite honest. I don't go home to my complete family anymore. My daughter was killed, and I am really concerned about how he is going to rule on certain things that matter a lot to me, because I don't want to see other families go through what we've gone through. The NRA is spending a lot of money to help get him selected, but the problem is they're also filing lawsuits all over the country. Florida, for example, we actually passed gun safety after what happened in Parkland. The NRA filed a lawsuit. These lawsuits are going to end up in front of a Justice Kavanaugh. And unfortunately, based upon his prior statements and rulings, we can predict how he's going to rule. Candidly, my hope to him was simply to say, I hope you change your stance. I hope you look in my eye. I hope you see that this pin that I wear on my lapel or these bracelets that I wear, that's all I have to get close to my daughter now. And I hope you can be part of making sure no other parent has to feel the way I do, because we can fix this. And I'm concerned that he won't be that person, but he's a father, and I was hoping to appeal to that.
So the encounter today, it did go viral, and the White House Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah, he responded to it. And he tweeted this. He says, as Judge Kavanaugh left for his lunch break, an unidentified individual approached him. Before the judge was able to shake his hand, security had intervened. Do you think this could have just been a misunderstanding, that he wasn't trying to slight you?
No, and that statement isn't true. So number one, I was there all day, and I was introduced by Senator Feinstein. To make it a little bit more, I also, when I attend things like this, I don't sit. So I stand out like a sore thumb. I refuse to sit, and I stand there all day because it's my way of making sure people know who I am when they talk about issues of gun safety. So you couldn't miss me. After they announced the break to go to lunch, well, senators started, mingling around. Judge Kavanaugh was talking to somebody. I walked up to talk to somebody to the right of Judge Kavanaugh. He was talking to someone to my left. When that conversation was breaking up, I turned around, and honestly, I can't remember if I tapped him on his elbow or his shoulder, but I was trying to get his attention, and I put out my hand to shake his hand. I simply said, hi, my name is Fred Guttenberg. I'm the father of Jamie Guttenberg, who was murdered in Parkland. As soon as I got to the murdered in Parkland, that's where you saw him turn and move and walk the other way, and that's where you saw security start to help direct him. But he was listening to me. All he had to do was extend his hand back and say, I'm sorry for your loss. Tell me about your daughter.
And that would have been enough for you?
You know what? It would have been a way for one dad to look another dad in the eye, and maybe he would have asked me more questions about why I'm there. But instead, as soon as I said murdered in Parkland, he just did an immediate turn and went the other way. He also went to security afterwards. And what happened after lunch is I got back in the room and I sat down. And security, a couple of minutes later, came and pulled me out of the room and said that they thought, Judge Kavanaugh thought that I may have crossed a boundary I didn't intend to, so I hope he doesn't feel like I was rude. I really just put out my hand to say hello. And I'm certain he was the one who told them to take me out, because he described these bracelets that I wear on my wrist, which commemorate my daughter.
So, Fred, are you going to, especially with that in mind, are you going to try to meet him again tomorrow?
Well, I intend to be there for part of the day tomorrow. I always say, in the process of trying to get gun safety done, I will talk to anybody, and that includes him. So nothing here for me is personal. Actually, everything is personal. I lost my daughter. But I will talk to anybody with the hope that I can get them to understand we can do more. I fear that what will happen is certain basic laws that have already been getting passed around the country, raising the age to 21 and red flag laws, things that are saving lives, he will rule unconstitutional. And it's predictable if he does that, more people will die. And I don't want that to happen. So I would love to speak with him so I can share with him my concern.
At least as you're saying, the first thing, at least in the very least, you'd like is just to shake somebody's hand. Fred Guttenberg, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.